Sha'ban. Sha'ban is the month before Ramadan. So 15th of Sha'ban is not even Ramadan yet. How can you say it is in Ramadan? That's the question. Well, because the Prophet ﷺ, he is the one who told us this. You will find this hadith in Sahih Bukhari and in Sahih Muslim. You will also find it in Sunan Abi Dawood and Sahih Ibn Majah. If you know these books of hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, where he was, where his companions would say, the narrators would say, the Prophet ﷺ, when the last 10 nights of Ramadan used to arrive, he used to tighten his belt and wake up his family to pray in the night, and he used to await for Laylatul Qadr. And he used to say, the Prophet ﷺ used to say, تَرَقَّبُوهَا فِي الْعَشْرِ الْأَوَاخِرِ كما قال witran. يعني I'm just summarizing the hadith. Await for Laylatul Qadr in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, being in odd numbers. Being in odd numbers. Also hadiths about the Prophet ﷺ saying, await for it in the 25th, the 27th and the 29th. There's many other hadiths about the signs of Laylatul Qadr, all talking about Ramadan, my dear brother or sister. And please explain how come all others are wrong. I don't understand that. So inshallah, I hope I helped you. Now? The calendars? Did you ask that question, brother? No, we don't know then. We don't know, Tamir. Habib Alvi, sorry. I don't mean to put you on the spot. I just, if it's about the calendar, probably it's your question, about the calendar, why they're all wrong. They're not all wrong, brother. I don't know how they're wrong. I still don't understand. So. Naam? Isra wal Mi'raj in Sha'ban, well that's a different story. Okay, Laylatul Qadr is a different thing. If someone backbites in front of us while we are fasting, then what do? It's very simple, my dear brothers or sisters. You simply advise them and you tell them in a proper manner that what they are doing is haram, and that the Prophet ﷺ said. He said, tell them what the Prophet ﷺ said. أَتَدْرُونَ مَا الْغِيبَةِ? Do you know what ghiba is? And they said, what is ghiba, Ya Rasulullah? And he said, for a person to mention something about their brother or sister in their absence when they don't like you to mention it. They said, Ya Rasulullah, what if it's true? He said, if it's true, that's ghiba. If it's not true, then that's slandering. So try and advise them. If they don't stop, then you must get up and leave that gathering, or try and change the topic in the best way that you can. Otherwise, listening to ghiba, you will fall into the same harm. Is sleeping during the day in Ramadan good or bad? What about out of Ramadan between Asr and Maghrib? Please explain. Brother Abu Hamza explained this yesterday, talking about how it's not recommended to sleep throughout the whole day in Ramadan and then sort of wake up in the whole night. You're just trying to sort of really not reaping out the benefits of fasting at all. So it's not really recommended to sleep throughout the day of fasting. But the Prophet ﷺ always, this is a sunnah that he used to do, he used to always, regardless, Ramadan, outside of Ramadan, used to have something called a qaylula. Qaylula is a short sleep somewhere between Dhuhr and Asr. As for between Asr and Maghrib, I don't know I've heard of some hadiths about this, but I don't know the authenticity, if it's true or not. But I have read from many scholars, past and present, when they are talking about sleeping between Asr and Maghrib as being not recommended. And they reference to a hadith which I don't know its authenticity, saying whoever sleeps between Asr and Maghrib and wakes up and he's mentally disturbed, then only blame himself. But I don't know the authenticity of this. However, we do hear it from scholars. Nevertheless, the Prophet ﷺ did not usually sleep between Asr and Maghrib. He used to sleep between Dhuhr and Asr. So let us take what the Prophet ﷺ did. But don't oversleep in Ramadan. You need to reap the fruits of that. Weep the sows or sow the weeps, or I don't know how they say it. Tayyib, brother, wa alaykum as-salam. You've said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't ask Muslims to fast when they were in Medina because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not want to torture them or cause hardship to them and so on. Does it mean that the poor people at this time don't have a compulsory to fast? This is a good question. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't command them to do it because they were already in the lowest, in the hardship that needed to be. They were already fasting, you see. They were already fasting. This does not mean that the poor people don't have to fast. They still have to fast. But you see, the Prophet, if a poor person is so poor that he doesn't have any food to eat, then he's automatically fasting, aren't they? And I don't know what the difference is between you not eating and a poor person not eating. Poor person doesn't have food, can't afford the food in the day. Well, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide him food in the night. And he'll only have to eat once in the day, or in suhoor, or probably eat a little bit in suhoor and a little bit afterwards, not eating 3 meals anymore. So fasting is actually good for the poor person. He's still patient. You see? Catch the drift? As for a person who's very ill and sick, or a person who's on a journey and travel, or a person who's unable to fast, it's a fiqh matter now, then they don't have to fast. They make it up another day. So inshallah, it's solved inshallah. طيب, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum salam. Do you mind to clarify authenticity, sahih, of Quranic verses and hadiths you use in the lecture? Also, could you please make them publicly available? Inshallah, we will try our best to make them publicly available. Please consult ISNA inshallah. As for the verses of the Quran, we don't usually say they're sahih or da'if. That only applies to hadiths, right? Words of the Prophet ﷺ, because the Quran is always sahih, no matter what. But we'll inshallah display it. I'm not going to go through them all now, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Can I pray with shoplifted clothes? You just want to make people laugh now, right? Can I pray with shoplifted clothes? The answer is no, my dear brother or sister. Whether you pray or don't pray, you shouldn't be wearing them. You shouldn't be wearing them if they are stolen. So it is haram to accept anything from anyone who you know it is stolen. And it's haram to steal. Otherwise, you are assisting. You are assisting theft. Is it true that I cannot fast the days from now till Ramadan? You can fast them. You can fast them, but there is a nahi, we say. A nahi. The Prophet ﷺ did not recommend people to fast towards the last days before Ramadan. Towards the last days before Ramadan. You can look this up in a book called Al-Lu'lu' wal-Marjan. For Ibn al-Qayyim, Samahat al-Shaykh Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah. He's got all the hadiths taken from Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Or you can look up Riyadh al-Salihin if you like, it has something in there. You can also look up many books of fiqh inshaAllah for your evidence for that. It's not recommended to fast about halfway of Sha'ban till the day of Ramadan, or to delay it so that you can prepare yourself inshaAllah for Ramadan. Unless you are used to fasting Mondays and Thursdays, one day on, one day off, right? Then you can continue doing that inshaAllah. I am breastfeeding, and as a revert to Islam, I have never fasted before. Am I able to fast as much as I can? I.e., if my milk is drying out, can I stop for a day, then continue again? Well, sister, this is something which I can't really answer, because it's something which you know yourself. All I can say to you is the common rule is that if your fasting will lead, you know that it is going to lead you to harm or your baby to harm, then you can break that fast and fast another day. But we're not talking about harm that is like you say to yourself, look, if I stop, there is milk and there's everything, but you think to yourself, if I stop, there's a potential that they'll be harmed. You can't rely on a hypothesis such as that. So it's only when you reach the point where it's apparent to you that really it is drying, then yes, you may break your fast and fast another day. Islam and fasting is very easy, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. I was wondering, can someone make up for missed prayers they've missed? There's a lot of hadiths that say you must and some say you can't. Can you please help me out? The scholars differed. Actually, first of all, I don't know if you're talking about the prayers when you were not praying deliberately, or the prayers that you actually forgot to pray or you slipped past them. If they are the prayers which from before you deliberately didn't pray them, like for 10 years or 15 years before, then there are two opinions to that. But the majority of the scholars, and the correct opinion, which the majority of the scholars, when we say scholars, we're talking about the early scholars who have already dealt with this issue for us and explained it to us. The scholars of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, the scholars of Hadith, they talk about